Peace family, you are tuned in with your boy Tony, and today we are talking about a topic that needs to be talked about, that needs conversation built around it right here. I believe that our people are destroyed by a lack of knowledge, so it's my job to make sure that I keep us all tuned in on what's going on, different topics that we can help to learn, because it's all about the information. So the other day, as you can probably see in the title, I was scrolling on my phone and I saw this topic that stood out that said, is selling grandma's house the right choice? And I knew exactly what that meant. A lot of us were growing up, in our grandmother's house, visit our grandmother's house.
Now go sit down somewhere and rest your nerves.
Many times, and it was a central place of family where we all met at, where, for every holiday, everybody would gather at. Grandma's house was the safe haven for the family. But once grandma goes on to the next phase of life, that house is sitting there and it becomes, what do we do with this house? A situation that many families have probably gone through. Do I get rid of this house? Do I keep this house? Do I sell it?
Housing instability is nothing new for Black people. It's something African Americans have been dealing with long before the coronavirus.
I want to talk about the opportunity in this situation that many of us have faced or will face one day. Is selling grandma's house the right choice? So I saw this article right here, and it was about a brother who made the not so right choice. His name was Fred Brown. It caught my attention because I was like, wow, this is something that needs to be discussed. This is one of the main reasons of the huge gap in the racial wealth gap between white America and Black America that we still face. And what is due to is us not being financially literate on the right topics that we need to be literate about. For so long, we've just been taught about get money, but not how to do money smart, not about how to make money work for us, how to put in the right places, how to invest in the right places so that our money is working for us. A lot of us were taught that hard work equals a lot of money, and that is not the case. Hard work can keep you comfortable and stable, but that's not how it's going to grow, because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much capacity that you personally have to give to creating work. Like I've said in my past videos, the biggest driving wealth generator in this country is real estate. Just due to the economic infrastructure this country has put in place for African American people, it has made it hard to own homes. And just to go on my tangent about Black history, that we were kept out of housing for a long time with redlining and other things until it was no longer profitable.
Come on down to Redlining Realty, sanctioned by the U.S. government.
We need to understand these houses that are in our family through inheritance that are being passed on. These are gifts that we are giving to create generational wealth. But when I see stories like I'm about to talk about you guys right now, where we're giving away these gifts and decreasing our chances for creating that generational wealth, that is a problem that needs to be discussed, that needs conversation around it. So let's dig into this story. Before we get into it, I want you guys to like, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications so we can stay tuned in with these videos, because you know what? That's my job, to keep y'all tuned in. So let's break down this story, y'all, because it's deep. A lot of plays in here that could have been made that won't be ruined in the future because we're talking about it right now. So let me bring this up. So my guy Fred Brown right here, right? His grandmother had a house in, that's where he grew up with his 4 siblings in Columbia Heights neighborhood of Washington, D.C. His grandmother bought this house in the 60s for $7,000, guys. Bought this house in 1960 for under $7,000. But after she died, there was a family dispute that occurred in his family, which usually happens with families who, of course, don't have everything set up with the deeds and what's going to happen afterwards with the estate. So it's like, I don't want to deal with this house. I don't want to pay property taxes on this house anymore because it's just in my way, right? That's how we think. Well, we can get rid of this house and, make a flip.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
Get a quick bag off of the house. But we're not looking at the long-term consequences that this hinders us from with decreasing the racial wealth gap, with creating generational wealth for ourselves and our families that real estate offers. So a lot of times it's like the small, minute situation of, if we hold on to this house, we got to pay the $1,000, $1,200 property taxes, depending on the size, the location of where this house is. Or we're looking at the work that's going to take to fix it up. Grandma house old, I don't want that house no more.
Sherrod ain't got no sense. You make me mad. I don't even want him up in my vision.
That is incorrect thinking, you guys. And that's what today's video is about, uncovering the areas where we aren't, as a people, very much financial literate. So as I said, real estate is one of the driving wealth generations in this country on the soil that you and I are standing on right now. Just to the disputes, they figured out to sell the house, right? So I want to bring up some stats real quick before I even get into more of the video. This is from the Federal Reserve's 2019 report. It states that the white families on average have a median net worth of $171,000. This is just a typical white family, not rich. While a black family is only sitting at $17,150.
Black and brown families were disproportionately impacted by the 2007-2010 housing crisis.
Night and day difference, apple to oranges. And what I see in this is that the typical white family has always had real estate in their lineup, right? Which is also one of their driving forces for creating their generational wealth in their family. When I see a net worth of only $17,000, it shows me that home ownership is not as present in the black family. And I'm not talking about on an individual level. What I'm talking about is on a mass level. We're creating conversation around topics that need to be discussed. So the 17,000, I can see that as probably the 1 or 2 cars that may be in the black family's household that are paid off. So this is something that we need to talk about, because in black families, going back to grandma's house, this is the blessing and gift that we have that's being inherited into our families that we're not seeing as a blessing. We're seeing this as, it's old, I don't want to deal with it, and I'm gonna get rid of this house. Make me a quick bag, put the money in my pocket, go do something with. Why that's not right, guys, is because this house that Fred Brown had, somebody came in and bought the house, renovated it, split it into 2 units, and then sold both of those units, you guys, for more than Fred sold his one house for at the time when it was not split.
Real estate agents who are just really trying to keep neighborhoods just white.
So this is the financial illiteracy that I'm talking about right here, because if he would have knew this play, if he would have knew this knowledge, he wouldn't have been fearful if he needed to borrow against this to take on the debt needed to make that positive play in his life. You've got good debt and you got bad debt. This would have been a good debt situation of him taking the loan, fixing up the houses, splitting them into 2, and selling for both, or keeping them, which I would say, in the family to rent those houses out. Also, in this same article right here, there is a girl from Knoxville, Tennessee, where I'm actually from, who was in the same situation where her father had 2 properties right here. Their name was Reagan Adams, 42-year-old, 2 properties. Father left behind in Knoxville, Tennessee. They were able to use this house right here to keep a roof over their head and pay off debts. After those debts were paid off, guys, guess what they were able to do? Rent the house out for more and create a stable income that creates wealth in their family. And what I mean by this, you guys, is hard work, like I said, is not the key to getting to wealth. By using your money, using your assets to create wealth for you while you're not attending those, aka passive income, a super popular topic that you probably see all over YouTube and everything. So another person in this same story that relates a little bit closer to Fred Brown had a house in Washington, D.C., corner lot, same city and state as Fred Brown. They thought about selling their house. They bought this house in 1969, just like Fred Brown, whose grandmother bought the house in the 60s. Bought this house for $23,000. And like I said, they almost were going to sell the house, but instead decided to keep the house. Now that house is worth $1.2 million. What? Imagine that asset line now on the balance sheet for that family, what it does for them.
The gap between white and black homeowners is greater now than it was since before the Fair Housing Act of 1968.
So now having this asset for that family, they're able to borrow against the house, rent on the house, create monthly passive income, be able to leverage that house as collateral to get funding that they need to do other moves and plays, create businesses to make their family even more prosperous, even more wealthy. And that's what's been going on for so long with the Caucasian and the whites.
For years and years and years, people have been able to pass something on to their children or pay for their education.
And what I'm saying by this is not to even talk about white people, but to literally look at what's going on that we are missing, that we're not doing. So I need you guys to right now write something about how you feel in the topic section below. Let me know by commenting how you feel about what I'm saying. Am I talking truthful or am I not? In our families, you guys, when our grandmothers own these houses, when our mom and dad own these houses, and then they pass on and give those houses to us, you now have an asset. And many of us, from looking at the stats right here, that census says 17,000 for median net worth of African American, us not owning homes, that's the thing that we need, is the home. So when it's giving it to us, why sell it when it's an asset that can do so much more for us long term? We have to stop looking at the short term. We got to look at the long term play, how to build that generational wealth, how to do what we need it to do. The census also says that 74% of white people are homeowners, white families, with 30% for black families being a lot lower. So black families are around 40-something%. So as I see it gaining, that's a good thing. So I'm not just saying that we're just all the way assed out in this situation, but what I am saying, when the plays are there, the opportunities are there, we need to be financially literate to know what we have in front of us, the opportunities we have available to help decrease the racial wealth gap in our country that we deal with every single day, that's not getting too much better, you guys. When grandma's got that house, before this video ends, or your parents pass a house on to you, don't sell it, y'all.
Don't make me have to.
Be smart, do your research on it. I know the housing market right now is going crazy, everything's selling, but if you make $50,000 off that house, that $50,000 is gonna be blown quick. That house is gonna keep appreciating. So this is just knowledge, something for us to talk about, you guys. As always, keeping y'all tuned in with the topics. Make sure y'all shop the brand Historically Black Apparel right here. I mean, that's the main mission of the brand, is to make sure that we're creating awareness in our black community. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.